Hi, so today I'm going to be talking about figure drawing, and I'm going to give you an exercise that simplifies figure drawing even more than the last video I did. Hi, my name is Escobar. I'm a storyboard artist on the Simpsons television show. I've been working on the show for over 25 years now, and I'm here to empower you. So today I'm going to be talking about simplifying figure drawing even more. Like I already did a video where I talked a little bit more about the type of a way you finish a drawing by simplifying your lines into 3 lines. But today I'm going to just talk about doing the entire figure with 1 line. And that's what this does is it shows you the versatility of simplicity, but it also takes away a lot of the noodly, and it gets you to a figure drawing that comes straight to the point. So let me show you what I mean. So I'm only going to be using straight lines throughout the entire process. Well, not the entire process. I'm going to draw my lay-in, my figure drawing lay-in, and gesture drawing in a little bit more normal way. But my final line on everything will be just straights. So let me show you what I mean. Okay, so I have this pose here of this dude. Let me see. So I'm going to be drawing the pose as I would normally. So I'll just come in with the gesture drawing, and the gesture drawing is as I would normally do. Just come in and do the gesture. I'm thinking rhythms, I'm thinking power, I'm thinking a negative space, negative shapes. So right now, at this stage, I am using curves. So you can say that at this stage, what I'm doing is I'm using the C curves, S curves, and straights method. I'm not doing more than that. I'm not noodling the figure much. And yeah, so again, this is very this kind of goes back to what I was doing in the previous video that I talked about simplicity, where I just took what I'm doing here and I'm just breaking it down into C curves, S curves, and straights. Okay, so that is very similar to what I did in the last video. So it's not anything crazy and different. When it starts getting different is when I'm going to start applying the final line. Okay, so I have the general gesture here of this figure. It does need refining, but I'm going to start doing all the refining with my final line. So I'm gonna call this layer gesture just so that you guys can see, Ooh, I misspelled gesture. So that you can clearly, I can turn off the next layer and show you what I'm doing on top of that. So here we have the gesture, and oops, you know what? I want to draw this hand shape in here, and maybe this shape here. Okay. Now it's so now that I've got this, what I want to do, add the pit of the neck and the center line so that it's more clear. I have to think about this. Now, this is a graphic representation. There's nothing really solid about this. It's just the general, it's like, yeah, it's just an abstract, energized, flat version of what I reinterpreted it of this figure. The next step is going to be in my head. I've studied anatomy and construction a lot. So I'm going to be applying the structure and construction. At the same time, I'm going to be adding everything in with a final straight line pass. I'm going to reduce the opacity here just so that you guys can see it, what I'm thinking about. So I'm going to come in here, and the rib cage is an egg shape. It's in here like that, right? So I'm thinking about that. There's the anatomy that comes down here, and this is this shape here, which is kind of like an underwear kind of shape, and then this leg is a tube, and it goes in space, and it comes over here, and it does this. So I'm going to be thinking about all of that. Now this comes in this way. There's a box here. There's comes over here. So I'm thinking about all of this when I'm drawing the final line on top of this gesture. So I'm going to be thinking about that when I am applying the final line. So I'm kind of I'm not skipping that process. I'm just doing this in my head while I do the final line. And the final line I'm going to do is going to be all straights. So the exercise is to do the final line and just do it all in straights. So whenever you have a place in the figure where the figure has a curve, what you do is you break that curve down into smaller straights. But the entire time I'm doing this, it's all straights. It helps that it's a male. For sure it helps that it's a male, because when you're doing females, you don't want straights make them look less feminine, while straights, when you draw a male, makes them look more masculine because of the hard edges. So one of the benefits of drawing only in straights is that it psychologically makes everything seem much more solid. I don't know what it is about that. Maybe it has something to do with the boxy nature. I almost made a curve there. Something having to do with the boxy nature of drawing straights. It makes it look more boxy from the beginning, and it kind of, see how this turn kind of forces the notion that this is turning in space. The muscles there. And again, this is a really, really good exercise. This is the kind of exercise that my figure drawing teachers would force the entire class to do. And it's surprising that, one, you can pull, it actually works, as far as like you can actually do a figure all in straights and have it work. And two, you get a very solid result. And again, part of the reason why you get such a solid result is because it forces you. The thing about straights is it makes it feel much more solid. It gives you, it forces you to draw in a boxy way. And psychologically, not only does it make it look more masculine, but it also makes it look more solid by the nature of boxiness. So small curves in the body are broken down into tiny straights. There is a design element to this. You have to make decisions too. It forces you to make design decisions. And that's another benefit. When it also shows you that when worse comes to worse, when you don't know what to do with a figure, if you're not sure it should be a straight, a C curve, or an S curve, default should be a straight, because you can't because it looks good. Even usually when you do a bad curve or make everything too curvy, it looks really wishy-washy. But as you can see, if you draw everything in just straight lines, it still gives it a stability that it wouldn't have had if it was all straights. So this is the outline, straights outline. and that would be the general outline of the figure that I would do, and it would just be all straights. You saw that I did only straight lines the entire time, small straights, long straights, and I broke it all down into small. You know, you could even break like this is maybe too hard. I could break it down into a straighten here and just kind of soften it, but it's all straight lines. Okay, and then you could do the exact same thing with the values. So I left this all blank because it's all in shadow and it's really kind of hard to see what's going on there. And I didn't want to just go in there and futz with it. So I'm going to let the shadows tell the story, because really the shadows are telling the story. And then exactly the same thing that I just did, I'm gonna keep all the shadows and draw all of them as straights. Now I'm using the pencil tool. So one of the things that I would recommend if you're doing shadows of any kind is to not use an airbrush tool. Don't use the airbrush tool to do shadows. The airbrush tool should be used sparingly under very specific situations. What you want to avoid is making everything look too soft. So, like, again, it's very similar to what I just said about using only straights. You don't want everything to be soft. It's weird. You can get away with cell shaded. A cell shaded look. You know how in anime and in some of the Western cartoons, you got figures. The shadows are simplified only with lines, straight lines, and values. And it works. There isn't any soft shadows in animated cartoons, right? I mean, there have been attempts and they work in hand-drawn animated cartoons, I should say, because CG cartoons work different. But the idea is that the cell-shaded look is all straight lines. Now this is and it works. It looks fine. In fact, it looks solid. And what I'm kind of doing here is kind of a cell shaded thing, but this is not a this pencil that I'm using is the colored pencil, and what it does is it gives me a firm value. It doesn't give me a soft value, it gives me a firm value. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of drawing the terminator, the where the light and shadow meet. And I know that this leg is black, is in black clothes. I will address that in a second, but I kind of wanted to make sure to hit the terminator. And one of the reasons why you want to use, say, a soft edged brush, not a soft edge brush, I'm sorry, exactly the opposite. The reason why you want to use a firm edged brush, and it doesn't have to be the colored pencil. It could be it could be the default pencil brush for like I'm using Clip Studio Paint, and I'm saying this is the color pencil of Clip Studio Paint, but you could use the regular pencil, because a regular pencil, let me see, this darker pencil basically does the same thing. The only difference is that the color pencil has a little bit of a texture. That's the difference. So I kind of like the color pencil texture. But you could use the regular Photoshop pencil, the standard one, because it has a firm edge to it. And finally the hand. So all of this is all done again with just straight lines. I didn't do any curves. See, it's all straights, the entire thing. And then I'm just going to, again, still using straight lines. I will add the shadows only using straights. What doing only straight lines here does is it also gives you a even look, a very confident look. And then I'm gonna just darken this up a bit to indicate that it has a value. And I'm going to maybe add I think I already have that. Maybe I think I'm gonna add some hard edges. Go back to my rough pencil where the shadows need hard edges. I'll just add a hard edge here. Again, still all straights. I am not using any curved lines at all, just all straight lines. Okay, and I think that's it. I think I kind of made my point that you can get away with doing a figure. Oh, here, I should probably put in the nipple there, because the stretch of the nipple actually helps the idea that the muscles are stretching. Notice how the shadows imply the face without having to construct the hell out of it. As long as you know what is happening there, and you reinforce it with the values in the construction. Okay, so that's it. Maybe I could just have this be... Oh, I broke my rule. All straights. There we go. Okay, so that's an exercise that I'd highly, highly, highly recommend you do if you want to, in a way, you can design and beautify and learn how simple it is to do you don't have to get noodly when you do your final line on a figure. You can do it all with a single type of line. You can do the entire figure using straight lines. It gives it a very unique look. As you can see, it does look very, very designed, but it also gives it a clarity and a solidity that you wouldn't think it does, right? It's surprising how versatile a single line can be, especially the straight. You can get away with making things look curved while still... And the thing about the straight line is that when you draw a curve out of straight lines, it makes the curve solid. So if you really want to make something look a lot more solid, you just kind of just straighten, you just use straight lines, and you get this solidity to it just by the nature of straights. Again, like this I broke it down a little bit more, but it does give you that. It looks curved and it looks straight at the same time, right? Like it looks solid. In all of my shadow shapes are all lines too. They're all straight lines. So you can get away with so much with so little, right? And it's an extremely valuable lesson to learn when you're learning to figure draw, that you can get away with not being so noodly. Simplicity is what is it that Leonardo da Vinci said? Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, right? So that's what you want, simplicity. You want simplicity, and with simplicity you get this very sophisticated final product. So I hope this is helpful. And I highly recommend doing this exercise. If you like this video, please like. And if you like my channel, please subscribe. And if you want to, if you want to learn to draw and you have no idea where to begin, like if you have no supposed talent to be able to draw, and if you can't draw yourself out of a paper bag, I do have a video course that starts you off with it assumes you know nothing about drawing, that you're horrible at drawing, you can't even draw a straight line. I assume all of that, and then I take you from that to be able to draw something that you out of your head, like just anything, like to the point where you're able to just do a doodle and it looks appealing, it looks cute, and that from that point on, you can get the confidence. So that's all I'm not going to teach you how to get to this point, right? Just give you the confidence to get to the point where you can doodle on your own the way you want to, kind of just do something. And then from that point on, you can actually pick up drawing books and then level up from that point. But so I take you from doing nothing to doing something, and then from that point on is up to you. But If you're interested in that, there's a link to that course in the description of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you next time. All right, bye.